Greybrook University sits on the northern edge of Lake Ontario, just outside the town of Halewick. The institution was originally founded in 1911 as a small theological college. Faced with increased enrollment and government expansion, the university relocated to its current campus in 1968. A series of concrete structures were erected on the outskirts of town. The school has long maintained a reputation as one of the province's smaller, quieter academic institutions. With a student population fewer than 6,000, Greybrook never attracted the same attention as Toronto's larger universities. It wasn't known for controversy or for tragedy, but that changed in the fall of 2001. In September of that year, 6 students volunteered for a sleep study conducted by Greybrook's Department of Behavioral Neuroscience. The study was led by Dr. Adrian Keller, a 42-year-old researcher specializing in parasomnia and auditory stimulus response during sleep. Colleagues described Keller as quiet and deeply committed to his work. He had arrived at Greybrook 3 years earlier after completing postdoctoral research in Montreal. The sleep study would be his most ambitious project to date, and it would also be his last. The study was formally titled The Effects of Auditory Conditioning on Sleep Quality and Memory Retention. The participants were told they would be monitored overnight while exposed to a series of low-frequency audio tones designed to improve cognitive performance. The study would last 2 weeks. They would be paid $500. All 6 participants were undergraduate students. All 6 were between the ages of 19 and 23. None had any history of sleep disorders or psychological illness. Each morning, following their overnight sessions, the participants were asked to complete a series of written and recorded evaluations. The purpose was to document sleep quality, physical sensations, and any dreams they could remember. Participants were instructed to speak freely, to describe anything they had experienced during the night, no matter how insignificant it seemed.
I don't know. Sleep was fine. Don't feel all too different.
Slept pretty okay. I don't really remember much, just shapes, I think, and a hallway maybe.
My head hurts a little bit, but I'll be fine. Didn't get any dreams either, but I did see colors.
At first, the reports were standard, consistent with normal dreaming, but within days, something began to change. In the days that followed, all 6 participants began to report similar symptoms: paranoia, night terrors, and consistent nightmares. Each of them described the same sensation that they were not alone and that something was watching them. Participants were instructed to document these experiences visually, to draw anything they could remember from their dreams. All 6 participants produced nearly identical illustrations. despite having no contact with one another, no shared living space, and no knowledge of each other's accounts. They all still drew the same figure. As testing went on, some of the participants began to experience vivid dreams. Each explained that this figure, this anomaly, the very same one that many of them had begun to see in their rooms, would chase them down and commit violent attacks. These reports were so consistent that a separate survey had to be created for each of the participants to fill out nearly hourly. On the 9th of September, Clara Bell, the fifth participant, decided to withdraw from the study, claiming that these constant disturbing visions had been affecting her mood and schoolwork negatively. She left Dr. Keller a voicemail expressing her frustrations.
You have one unheard message. First unheard message sent yesterday at 7:15.
Alright, I don't really care if I get in trouble for this, but what you're doing is fucking inhumane. I'm not doing this anymore. I can't do it. Maybe I'm just going crazy, and none of the other people doing this are seeing what I am seeing, but I can't do it anymore. You can take your $500 and shove them up your ass. Goodbye, Dr. Keller.
End of message. To delete this message.
Clara Bell was the only participant that survived. If you look past the white picket fences and the quiet suburban streets of Halewick, you'll find very little out of the ordinary. But a closer look at the town's history reveals something else. A terrible secret. Before Graybrook University relocated to its current campus in 1968, The original grounds were shared with a smaller institution, Edgewater Sanatorium, a privately funded medical facility housing approximately 50 patients. Its primary focus was psychiatric care. Among the many procedures performed at Edgewater was one now considered among the most controversial in modern medicine: the lobotomy. Lobotomy is a surgical procedure in which connections in the brain's frontal lobe are severed, typically using a long ice pick-like instrument, inserted through the skull, either with the help of a drill or hammer. At the time, it was believed to treat conditions such as depression, anxiety, and schizophrenia. In practice, it often left patients permanently altered, emotionally blunted, and unresponsive, unable to function independently. By the late 1950s, the procedure had largely fallen out of favor across North America, but at Edgewater, it continued. One physician in particular remained a vocal advocate, Dr. Malcolm Reich, a senior neurologist at the Institute, known among colleagues for his unwavering belief in the procedure. Reich argued that lobotomies were not only effective, but underutilized, particularly in the treatment of young women. His views were extreme, even by the standards of the time. Records suggest that due to Reich's power and influence in the town, a disproportionate number of teenage girls from Halewick were admitted to Edgewater. Nearly a quarter of all youth from the town lobotomized. Many of them never fully recovered.
Can you show us form what this looks like?
In 1961, Reich performed what would become one of the final lobotomies associated with the Institute and also in North America. But in an attempt to demonstrate the validity of his work, Reich arranged for the lobotomy to be broadcast over local radio and illegally performed at Graybrook University, transmitted throughout the town of Halewick. The residents listened from their homes. What they heard was described as a demonstration, but the patient, a young girl, 12 years old, an orphan, was being operated on while awake. Her screams filled the homes of almost the entire town. Unofficial accounts suggest she had been placed under Reich's care shortly before the procedure. Her identity was concealed. Even within the broadcast itself, she was given the name Jane, as in Jane Doe. Much of what occurred that night was never fully documented. Records are incomplete, in some cases missing entirely. What is known is that Reich was arrested shortly after, his medical license revoked, and Edgewater Sanatorium began its decline soon after. Within a decade, it would close its doors. Graybrook would relocate, rebuild, move forward, but not everything was left behind. Before we continue, I'd like to share my connection to this story. I haven't lived there in quite some time, but I grew up in the town of Halewick. While searching for a subject for my next documentary, I decided to look a little closer to home, back to my childhood. That's when I rediscovered something I had long forgotten. A chant, a rhyme, a little song I used to hear in the schoolyard while others played. Hearing it again now, it made me start asking questions. Did you know about a little Jane Doe and what happened to her head? She fell off her bike, and with a big spike, they fixed her and sent her to bed. At first, this was going to be the focus of my documentary. The cruel story of a little girl wronged and exploited in the history of a town I once called home. But as I kept digging, I uncovered an older version of the rhyme, a more honest one. Did you all know about a little Jane Doe and what happened to her head? She fell off her bike, and with a big spike, they fixed her till she was dead. She kicked and she screamed, and no one could glean what the doc was going to do. So now that you know about little Jane Doe, just pray she won't come and get you. And that's when I found something else. Something I can't take back. Something I can't undo. Something that needs to be spread. After the discoveries of all 5 bodies, police were only able to rule out 2 of the deaths as suicides. The other 3 showed clear signs of foul play. But what confused investigators most was that none of the dorm rooms or campus entrances showed any signs of forced entry. And none of the university's security cameras captured anyone entering or leaving the crime scenes. Adding even more mystery to the case was the fact that all 6 incidents appeared to have occurred at roughly the same time. The terrible news of the tragedy barely spread beyond Halewick. The very next day, the media was consumed by the attack and destruction of 2 of the tallest buildings in the most iconic city in the Western Hemisphere. Dr. Adrian Keller, the only person who seemed connected to all 6 students, was arrested as the prime suspect. Authorities kept him in custody for 2 nights before he was found in his cell, completely stripped of his skin. I'm sorry, dear brother. My name is Rebecca Ann Keller. I am a journalist and documentarian based in Boston, and I returned to Halewick in search of a new story. While researching the case surrounding the illegal lobotomy of Jane Doe, I discovered more than just the old newspaper line that would later become the children's rhyme. I found the broadcast itself, a recording of the original radio transmission. It captured her cries, her screams of terror, as Dr. Reich performed a live lobotomy on air. When I first uncovered the tape, I was excited by the possibility of creating a new documentary around it. But that night, I saw her. I saw Jane, and she was angry. In a dream, she came to me and said she had vowed to kill anyone who listened to her screams and did nothing to help her. She told me I had 1 week to accept my fate. I didn't know whether it was simply my imagination or a genuine warning, but I decided not to take the risk. In an attempt to delay my death sentence, I altered the recording as much as I could with static and white noise, then split it into several parts. I gave those recordings to my brother, Adrian Keller, and asked him to expose as many students to them as possible, as many times as he could. And just like how my brother kept his promise, so did Jane. She tormented and killed those 5 students. And she came for my brother. But their deaths brought me enough time to finish this documentary. She's coming for me now. But you listening, you can still save me. I embedded fragments of Jane Doe's screams into the title cards throughout each part of this program. Sped up, distorted versions of her terror hidden within the static. And now that you've heard them, She'll come for you before she comes for me, giving me just a little more time. But don't be afraid. You can save yourself too. Show this program to someone else. Spread it as far as you can. Copy this tape, circulate it. The more people you expose to it, the longer it will take her to reach you. If you are hearing this message, then it is already too late to pretend otherwise. By the time this documentary ends, she will know your face, she will know your voice, she will know where to find you. Maybe you don't believe me. Maybe right now you're laughing this off, waiting for the credits to roll so you can move on with your life. But before you do, listen carefully. If at any point tonight you hear breathing beside you when no one is there, do not turn around.
Right there. I can see her. Who are you? What do you want? Get the fuck out!
Of my soul.